We're live.
It always catches me off guard.
I know, right?
I was like, am I recording? We're recording.
We are recording. We're going live today to talk about what it's like to leave the city life in search of a simpler life while still being career oriented and
Success driven.
success driven. Yeah. So we are Chris and Jaime.
Welcome to the Green Home. We're Chris and Jaime Green.
Yes. And we moved here to Western North Carolina when we were 30 years old.
Hello.
Hey, Rick. We see you. You're there. So anyway, so we moved here when we were 30, and a lot of people were kind of like, we moved from Miami, big city, a lot of movement,
well into our career. Doing well.
And a lot of people, friends, and everything were like, "What are you gonna do up there?" Like there's this notion I think that I had as well, where it's like moving to a small mountain town happens once you retire.
Mm-hmm.
And
like, what else are you gonna do here?
Rick was 4 minutes late. You were not. You were like 40 seconds late.
You were fine. Yeah, you were very much on time.
Hey,
Iris.
Hey, Iris. Welcome.
I love that emoji.
Yeah, it's a good one. You use that all the time.
I use that one all the time.
So anyway, so there was this notion that retirees move to a small mountain town. And we were like, well, we're 30 and we're going to move to a small town. And it hasn't stopped our goal-oriented, success-driven, career-building type mentality. It's not the same as the grind, if you will, from a big city, but
in a great way.
Luckily now there's a lot of remote jobs available. We brought our jobs here with us, and we're also, creating
living the side hustle life.
Yeah, living the side hustle life. We have a YouTube channel. Chris published a book. There's a lot going on and can still be going on. And the fact that we're not in a major city hasn't really deterred progress. That, is somewhat, I guess, a notion that people familiarize with, like, oh, you're moving to a small town, so you're just winding down. Like, this is going to be essentially it, just coast and, right, retire. And like, no, we're doing a lot.
So. Or that living a simpler life means not caring about your career or success. Like, I think that's also a distinction that doesn't really get enough traction. Like, I feel like, especially like when I even look at YouTube videos online, I feel like a lot of what I see, like moving to a small town and the peace and forget big city, forget money, forget all that. And I just don't think that it has to be an either or conversation. I do think that moving to a small town eliminates a lot of the headaches that come with career building and being success driven, like having a commute, to going and sitting in an office. Like, for sure, those things are not part of this. And I think I like to get into our specific experience. And then obviously with the caveat that we're just sharing our experience. There are a million ways, and we don't want to make this an hour-long live. So we're just going to keep it to us. But we'll do a video because we have a lot of friends that live in town and actually do have an industry here specifically that they move to.
Or entrepreneurs that created, their own thing. By the way, Iris saying she's trying to convince the hubster. Maybe a video like this will do the convincing.
He convinced me.
That's true.
I told him I'd rather die than move to Bryson
I plugged her from Miami and I brought her to Bryson City.
So it's totally possible.
And yes, Rick, we have been to that Publix and it reminds us of Miami very much.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. We get like this crab dip that we love from Publix, and I was like,
no Cuban coffee in that Waynesville Publix, though, unfortunately.
Not yet. There's more Cubans make their way up here. Okay, so I'll go real quick. Like Jaime was saying, I published a book recently, but when I moved up here, I had been in the advertising industry for 10 years. It's a really long time. I was doing well for myself. I studied that in school. I worked for several ad agencies, and one of which was actually voted like #1 ad agency for Hispanic advertising at the time, which is huge. So obviously, like, my career really meant a lot to me. And I felt in some ways like if I were to leave, I'd be leaving at the height of what I could accomplish. Especially that Miami, the last job I had before I moved up here was for a creative lab is what they call themselves, is basically like a boutique agency in the heart of what is now the mecca of the art world in Miami. Like Art Basel, I'm sure you guys have heard of, is there. And anyway, so I was doing some really cool stuff in my career, and it was a bit scary to move up here for me, because I was like, well, am I gonna, basically throw away 10 years that I've been working really hard to get to where I wanted to get to? And I would say that that has not happened. Obviously, I don't work in the mecca of the art world in Miami. So clearly, like if you have a specific industry that you want to be there for, like, yeah, location does matter in that sense. But I work remotely in social media. So I went client side, which just means that I don't work at an agency where we have a bunch of different advertising. Like I work in-house for a toy company. And I love what I do. I learn a lot. I still find myself being challenged because social media and advertising and all that, it's all digital and it's all changing. And I think as long as I've stayed curious and hungry, then I'm able to keep a pulse on the industry. I'm also very creatively driven. Like I published my book last year, so I'm a writer, and I find that I have way more time to focus on those pursuits and really honing in on my craft and becoming the best writer and the best artist that I can become in a small town, because I don't have a lot of things clamoring for my attention. I mean, we do have a lot of stuff that we're getting done, but it's easier to create the space and mitigate distraction. So in that sense, I've actually found it to be really supportive to me as an artist. And so, yeah, that's kind of like where we're at now. Like I work full time still, doing well in my career. I have my book, which is a side hustle. Like we're building out our property to have more passive income, but we don't necessarily feel like we're going to quit our jobs and what we've been working towards because of that. So that's a little bit about my experience. What should talk about?
Well, I'll address because Iris just said that for her husband it's difficult as he's a mobile mechanic with a lot of customers. So when you have a customer base entrepreneur like that,
yeah, I get it.
You kind of do get to, I mean, and there's no way to obviously still provide that service digitally, right? Because it's a physical profession, if you will. So it is tough because at that point you really are making a decision to start over. And can anyone start over at any age? I guess that's another thing to kind of look at. We didn't necessarily start over. We did start over with friends. We did start over with, lifestyle, with the space that we live in. We were in apartments and now we're here, whatever. All of that kind of was a start over. But I guess we were able to keep our careers, to continue with our careers, if you will. And that, I think, is possible for everyone when you look at the career not being one single thing. Like in your husband's case, if the career is mobile mechanic, then what opportunities would there be out here? You might be the best mobile mechanic in Bryson City, and then out of nowhere,
a lot over here, right? Like people.
I don't know enough about the industry to talk about it, but the point that I think we're trying to make is that you gotta
get creative.
You get to create when you get here too. A lot of it is taking the leap. We didn't know exactly what it was going to be like. Part of me was thinking, I don't know how much longer the company that I work for, also the toy company, is going to allow me to stay remote. Who knows? Maybe like 3 months into living in North Carolina, they're going to be like, yeah, this isn't working out. You're fired. And then what would we do? Do I
innovate, right?
Yeah, but you do innovate. I feel like that that thirst doesn't go away. And I guess the whole point of the video or this live session is just about moving to a small town doesn't necessarily mean slowing down your life. And in a sense, it's also to say that you don't have to wait till you're 65 and retired to move to a small town. So if there's any part of you that wants to make a change like that, then, there's no time like the present, let's just say. And all of it can be figured out. And things are hard, and pulling the plug on certain things that you might have to pull the plug on might be difficult. Selling houses, all kinds of situations, but it's all really about what are you committed to and how bad do you want it. And if for us in our case, we really wanted it really bad, we were willing to risk potentially losing our jobs and having to figure things out. So it was tough. Let's see what Iris is saying here.
Small town, so people are pretty much established with their own people. I can understand that. But we are in our particular small town, we're growing. So not to say like do it, but I just want to bring out that as a possibility. The Catawba Indian tribe has broken ground on a huge Las Vegas style casino near there, in addition to the Cherokee Harris.
Which is good for providing jobs.
We have heard about that.
Yeah, well, I think that
Job creation.
I think Rick is referring to as far as people
Yeah.
moving here. Like there are actually a lot of jobs you can get. I mean,
Mhm.
specifically here, and a lot of them are, there's thousands of employees that the casino has. So there's that. There's a lot. We've talked about this before, but like
Mhm.
if you're a pharmacist or the medical or whatever it is, like there's jobs in that industry as well. Definitely hospitality across the board everywhere, both retail and
A lot of
restaurants,
opportunity
stuff like that.
to
But
learn too.
regardless of what it is, more and more remote jobs are available. So my clients don't care if I'm living in North Carolina, Miami,
Talk about
or
what you do. Sling baby dinos.
I sling? No,
Slang?
slang baby dinos is what I call it. So we work for a toy company that manufactures animal figurines. It's called Safari Ltd. Anybody ever wants to Google it. Really cool stuff. And I handle the B2B sales side of it, specifically, well, a little bit of everything, but a big focus on international.
Mm.
So, as I said, distributor in Japan doesn't really care if I'm in Miami or Bryson City as long as he's able to communicate with me
And get those baby dinos.
and get those baby dinos. But yeah, so that's my case, but I don't think the specifics are really as important as the notion that
You're continuing. your
I'm
career.
continuing, and honestly, I'm doing more now than I ever did in Miami. Miami, it was a bit more like the 9 to 5, and that was it. Here we're building something special on our property. We're growing this YouTube channel and this community that we love, and
Yeah.
we're constantly thinking about other things to do. She's got another book in the works. We've talked about potentially doing a book together, more of like we'll get into that some other day. But anyway. Oh,
Yay. Okay, so we got a
coming in
lot.
June? Nice.
So Iris is in the medical field. You would definitely not have a problem. Absolutely. We love the healthcare workers, and we're definitely there's opportunity here. Rick can't wait to move back. I hear you. He was commenting earlier. He was looking at a 12-acre property around here, and I was like,
Nice.
do it. We'll be there in June. That's such a nice time too. You'll have so much fun.
Yeah. Good time for hiking.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to add? Do you feel like you get to be more creative being not in an office in your industry specifically? Like I do want to.
Okay. Yeah. When it comes to my actual role and what it was like working in an office versus working from home, I think that's pretty specific to the person, but I work better when I'm results driven and not time driven, like the whole clocking in and out thing. Like, it's tough for anybody to work a full sprint. Nobody does. I'm not going to say nobody, but at least I didn't do 8 hours straight. Like it's hard to do that. So when I'm able to create my own schedule working from home, then I can select the hours that I'm most productive, putting that into
That's
my
a
day
huge
job, if you
benefit.
will. And it allows me to be more creative, allows me to just render a better overall, work day, I guess. And then it does give me time to do projects around the house that I need to do when I'm not going to be fully focused on whatever report or whatever email, whatever phone call I need to make for work because I'm just not there yet. Then I can, go downstairs and
Mhm.
put up some paintings or, do whatever it is that we're doing that day. So yeah, I do think that for me, at least working remotely has helped in that sense. And I haven't really seen a difference since I was in Miami to being here. Like my mentality hasn't changed. I feel less stress, and I think that has a lot more to do with traffic and commuting than it does with anything else, to be honest. And being in nature, being surrounded by nature. What do we miss about Miami?
Cuban food.
100% Cuban food.
Croquetas.
Cuban coffee. Now we miss our friends and
and
family.
Guess we should say that.
Yeah, right.
I'm just
No,
kidding. We
our
do.
friends
we do.
are like our family as well, honestly.
Yeah.
And Miami will always be my city. And
Yeah, Miami's special.
yeah, I'd love to go back and hang out and not sit in traffic. So like I would never want to go back to Miami to do what I did, which was get in the car every morning, spend 40 minutes in traffic, go work all day, come back, spend another 40 minutes in traffic, and all of that I just wouldn't want to do. But working remotely from our old apartment even, I think would be quite a different experience, and we'd be happy. That being said, being able to look out the window and see these mountains I just wouldn't trade it for anything in the
go
world.
back.
So.
All right. I think I'm going to mention one more thing to close out, the being career driven in our particular case in our 30s. And I feel like most people, I don't think I'm making this up. Most people consider the 30s to be like those peak work years where you really learn a lot and get farther. You're not in your 20s. You're not like establishing yourself. I think that especially with COVID, there's so many conferences and information that you typically would have gotten by your job sending you there or by being located in certain cities that now you can have access to online. I also think as a remote employee, and I feel like I find myself wanting to provide more value, and I don't think I'm as on automatic as when I went into an office. I think that environment, sometimes being in person and having people's energy is very supportive, especially to me because I was in a creative industry. But I do think that just the grind and the getting tired and the fact that like I never felt, I don't know, I guess I was more comfortable. So to me, being a remote employee, I feel like it might be my own complejo. How do I say that in?
It's like a complex that you have, or your own,
like an insecurity, maybe. Like I want to. I know I'm so lucky to have a remote position for what I do, and we work for a really good company. So I get a little more paranoid in the sense like I want to provide a lot of value. So I actually find myself being much more proactive in sharpening my skills, staying in the know, challenging myself creatively than I was at working in the office with the comfort of like, well, I'm doing a good job. They're not going to like fire me here. It's like I'm out of sight, out of mind, right? I'm not showing face. I'm not
putting my time in, and that's enough. Like, I guess in our situation right now, it's we get to really provide results, which should be the case all the time. But there was a little bit of that by being in the office, almost like I'm here, right? So like that's enough.
Yeah, there is a little bit, I'm not going to lie, a little bit of an old school mentality. Oh, I hope we're not freezing. Sorry, guys. I hope we're good.
No, either way, it's getting recorded.
It's getting recorded. Hopefully it is. Oh, yeah. Sucks. Okay. So I thought it was ours.
It might be ours.
It might be ours. Sorry for internet sucks. Hopefully this is okay. If not, we'll do another video. And I just lost my train of thought. Oh, sorry.
Well, we hope that if this motivates anybody to make the leap of leaving the big city, because that's truly what you do want. What we're trying to say is it seems like you need to wait until you retire. And if you're really committed, you don't. So
if it's something that you really want, don't let that deter you. And we want to show people what is possible when you open up your mind, when you follow your heart. Again, if this is something that you want, you can get really creative more than you even know. I think we're so much more innovative and powerful than we ever give ourselves credit for. So I think that was like the main.
And if we take the leap, then we're almost forced to be that creative and create value. And
you'll do it
any way we can. So anyways.
We've enjoyed having coffee with you guys.
Yes. And Vanilla, thank you for pointing out that we hit the right topic. I'm happy that you feel that way.
Yes.
And I hope everybody else does too. So
send us your questions. We'll be here next Saturday at 12 to have more coffee with you guys.
And we'll be posting another video. You guys are definitely a motivation.
Thank you, Iris.
I don't retire. I'm already ready. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Iris. And best of luck to you. I hope you and your husband can make it out here soon.
Absolutely.
You guys deserve it.
They're coming in June.
Well, yeah, but I mean.
Oh, make it out here. Make it out. Okay, got it.
Permanently.
Yes. Yeah, we're sending those vibes to you. All right. Well, see you next week, guys. And let us know if you have any topics that you specifically want to explore or just like want to get to know us better. Drop a comment.
Yes. And we'll be dropping another video next Saturday as well. Bye, y'all.
And